If there's one thing I think we can all agree on, we don't want to pay any more taxes, do we? Well, what if taxpayer money was used to pay for your vacation? Part of your tax money went to pay for yours or others' vacations. Would you be in favor of that? That's the proposal in Brussels. For young people or those too poor to pay, vacations would be subsidized by the taxpayers. Then everybody gets a vacation. The way we spend our holiday is a formidable indicator of our quality of life, according to the European Union Commissioner for Enterprise and Industry. Are people that take a vacation happier and more productive? Should the government pay for your vacation, David?
No. This is so ridiculous, it doesn't even pass the smell test. It's comical, but I understand they're actually going to try it out, and they're actually going to try this and do it. I mean, here's an idea. How about we pay for their college educations so they can pay for their own vacations later? How about that? I mean, no one pays for my vacation, and no one gave me anything. So I find the whole thing really offensive, to be quite honest with you. But this from the European folks who also work the fewest hours per week per capita in the entire world. I mean, we as Americans work much harder than they do on a weekly basis. So, you know, I think consider the source here. But should anyone pay for my vacation? No, and I wouldn't ask anybody to.
Yeah, if I had the chance, I'd ask somebody to pay for mine, and I'd have no problem doing it, quite honestly. But I wouldn't use taxpayer money. Now, Charlotte, perhaps I misspoke, because when I thought about what I was saying, I realized that you want everything taxed. So do you think
That's
this is...
not true at all,
Oh, it's
Fred.
absolutely true. Every time we're on, you said we ought to tax this, we ought to tax that. How about a tax to send people on vacation? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I don't agree with doing this. I certainly wouldn't want this to come to our country. If the Belgians have all this excess money, they can do whatever they want to do. It's up to them. But the thing I have a problem with is the idea that they're calling this a human right. And I think that's a problem, whatever it may be. In fact, a lot of Democrats are saying that health care is a human right. When you call something a human right, it makes it set in stone. It's coming from God. It's coming from natural rights or natural law. You can't change it. It's not malleable anymore. It should just be called a legal right. A legal right means that we have the money now, we want to subsidize or whatever. If a government decides that and people decide that, that's fine. But 10 years later, you may say, we don't have the money, we're not going to subsidize this anymore. So I think you need to leave things malleable. And so it's very important that it be called a legal right. And I prefer the idea that private organizations, if they want to subsidize people's vacations, that happens right now. For example, my daughter is going to take a trip to Israel next year for 2 weeks, and it's going to be paid by a private organization that puts these groups together for kids between, I think, 16 and 25 years old. So, you know, that kind of thing makes more sense to me.
Well, if a private company wants to spend the money, great, but
yeah.
I don't want my money spent on somebody else's vacation.
I agree.
Unless they want to send me on vacation, and I'll take the money. All right.
Well, and since when do they have all this extra tax money laying around? I guess we should all move to Brussels if they got more money than they know what to do with.
All right, now what do you think about this? Here we go. You're programming a television network. Someone comes in and pitches this idea. All right, you're the executive here. How about a show about celebrities that cheat on their spouse? It'll be hosted by 2 women that were mistresses. Think anybody would watch that? According to TMZ, that very idea is being pitched in various places. Word is it would be hosted by Michelle Bombshell McGee. She had the affair with Jesse James, and Jamie Jungers, who had an affair with Tiger Woods. How in the world do the women that are involved in the affairs become stars? That's first. Would anybody watch this? Would you buy it for your network, Charlotte?
Well, I wouldn't watch it, but I do think the masses probably would. It's kind of like a combo of Jerry Springer and Access Hollywood. It sounds like, you know, when you talk about celebrities and sex, people are going to watch. But I think it's going to be hard to fill up the content unless you get the National Enquirer involved, who, of course, weeded out the John Edwards affair, and also Larry King, who wears suspenders because he obviously can't keep his pants up. So I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. Maybe they're going to have like sex addicts come on to try to be rehabilitated and going through a sex 12-step program. I don't know. But I think the masses might watch it.
Already have a show like that.
Go ahead, David.
There's already a show like that. It's called Celebrity Rehab.
I know, but not with sex, is it? It's with drugs, isn't it?
Sex
Alcohol
Rehab with Dr. Drew. Done that, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're not breaking any new ground here. The sad reality about this is, and I think we can probably agree on this, Charlotte, is that it is no longer about being a celebrity. It's about being famous. And you can be famous for anything. I mean, there used to be a time when celebrity meant that you had some skill or, you know, there was something unusual about you. Now it's just if you're well known. You know, and it's kind of pathetic, in my opinion. It's the same reason that Paris Hilton has a following. I mean, what has that woman done? Nothing. She is famous for just trotting down the catwalk. But you know what? People watch it. People do this, and I can't explain it, but it's our fascination with public figures, and unfortunately, what makes a public figure now? Cavorting around with a celebrity's husband apparently is all it takes anymore. It's kind of pathetic.
What I find really, really interesting here in both situations. All right, so the affairs are revealed, and the wives are obviously upset, and the lives are shattered. These women come forward like they're wearing a purple, like a badge of honor, and going, my story must be told. Your story? We need to hear from you? You had the affair with him. What can you possibly offer to us?
And they go out in front of millions with Gloria Allred, and I was so appalled. I'm like, hi, you're not a victim, you're a trollop.
I think that's very well said. All right. Charlotte and David, good job as always. I'll talk to you guys next week.